That's a good thing.
Hey, Pumpkin.
Hello.
Yes, fool.
Hey, Pumpkin back.
Hello.
Girl, you man, you been
Baby.
arguing with you all day.
That's why I can't wait to go home.
I'm
Baby.
disappointed I didn't get the in-studio memo for this one.
Yeah, well, it was an impromptu type of thing.
Yes.
Because
I didn't bring my computer.
You know what I will say? That the lighting is much better for you, Mama Kim.
Thank you.
Because in other words, you said it's been pretty jacked up.
Brian, baby, you left me emotionally filled last week. Don't do this, okay?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Pull it back. I take it back.
Yeah. Well, how are you doing, Brian? DJ E-Box?
I'm doing all right. I had a late night, but I'm feeling pretty good. How are you?
Early morning.
And you up and ready. I know that's right. So,
absolutely.
Some people will still sleep.
Went and bought a new mailbox that the wind blew ours off, so I went and bought a new mailbox and installed that, and now I'm here.
You got high winds. You got bad storms and stuff there.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh. Okay. Well,
I slept completely through it, but apparently it was pretty
bad. Not like a tornado or nothing like that, but just.
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Cool.
And how are you guys?
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm forced to stay out of my comfort zone and spend the night when I gotta go to work, honey. I'll be at home later on tonight, though.
Nonetheless, anyway, we don't know what she's talking about.
I will be in my bed tonight, honey.
Yeah, that's not. Somebody got a little rumbling and snore.
No, it was actually Brian. Why are you talking about high winds? And Mario probably slept through it, but I could not because it was raining super hard over here. And I was like, is it about to come through the window? But it didn't. So I was able to get up on time. You want to hear that rain this morning? See, that's what I'm saying. He was snoring.
Anyway, nonetheless, are y'all ready to get started? You ready to get started?
Yes.
We are. Thank you. Yes, sir.
So, recently, I forgot the details of it because I was rushed. Nonetheless. But anyway, Gayle King, Katy Perry, Lauren Sanchez. Felt like it was a couple others. One lady from Cuba. I'm not exactly sure her name, but it was a lot of people. About 6 of them that went recently went to went out of space or took a space shuttle or whatever like that, whatever it may be. And I think it was Jeff Bezos. What is
sponsored?
Yeah, it's his thing. What is it?
His company. Yeah.
Is that the one that he's not Elon? Is it the one or Jimmy Buffett? Which one is the ones who was trying to go out of space?
They all are, ain't they?
Yeah.
Blue Origin.
Blue Origin, yeah.
Blue Origin. So recently these ladies went on like a little 10-12 minute voyage. So we'll show this little clip and then we'll get into it.
Take us space! Woo! Right behind you. It's okay. You put it up there. Flynn, I got you. I got you, Flynn. Look at the moon. Whoa. You guys, I have to tell you, look at the moon. What? Oh my
God. Been in that specific video, but she was on there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was on there.
Okay.
Anyway, so what are your thoughts on these ladies going to outer space or in taking the space voyage?
I'm probably in the minority. I feel like.
Go ahead, Brian. Because
I was just gonna say I'm probably in the minority on this one, but I think it's really fucking cool. And I think we're probably going to talk about this already, or you had it on the list to talk about, but there was a lot of backlash to this, and I don't understand why. Like, this is really cool. The one thing I didn't really like about it was how perfectly manicured everybody was about it. Like, Katy Perry's stepping off of it and kissing the ground and looking at the sky with a little tear in her eye. Like, it felt very rehearsed and fake. And you just went to space. Like, that's something that very few people are ever going to get to experience, and you're acting like a weirdo about it instead of acting like really fucking excited.
So you would have been really excited.
Absolutely, yeah.
You would have.
No.
You would have done it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
Not me.
Why not you?
But first of all, what was the one that they did that was under the ocean? Or was that in the...
Oh, when they're going down to the Titanic.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's different.
Why?
But I guess I get it. I get it the same. I get it. Adventurous. You're not adventurous.
I'm not in that space of the world, because I'm thinking,
Where do you get your adventure from?
It's not in space. That's just nothing I ever thought about. Maybe as a little kid, maybe, but as a grown person, I don't think like, oh, let me go see what the moon look like.
Yeah.
No.
I don't. Me myself personally, I would not be excited to go. Honestly, only because in my I always think about like that one. Which was 30 years ago or something like that.
And they took off and it
blew up. And that's what I mean, like
Challenger. Yeah.
That's what I think about. So, but to your point, I guess it's cool for them to do it. It's nothing I would want to do though.
Yeah, me.
But cool nonetheless. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say like, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say like, we always talk about how women entering STEM fields is the thing that we should encourage more, and like the backlash from this kind of explains why we don't. Like, and a lot of the real negativity that I saw was focused on the fact that they were all women, and people thought that was virtue signaling, and that, so it kind of took away from it. But I don't think it did. Like, it was an important message to send, but then everybody hated on it.
Well, the backlash I saw, I saw a lot of backlash about there being all women, but the other side of the backlash was kind of like feeling like it was poor timing. With everything going on in the world right now, they were like, a lot of people were saying, not a lot of people, but several of the reports I saw were saying that, this is kind of bad timing. He can spend all this money on these space voyages and whatever, but don't want to pay taxes or pay higher taxes, stuff like that. So that's kind of from that standpoint. And I just think that all the money that it took to do this, such a great feat, with kind of like where we are in the economy, the back and forth of it all, it just almost, I would agree, it kind of seems like bad timing. If it was all things normal, I probably would be more along with it and say, yeah, okay, it's a cool thing. Girl power, all those type of things. But I think it is kind of bad time. But then I guess I say that, but then contradictory, I'm like, well, it's his money, you know what I'm saying? And he can do whatever he want to do with it.
When would ever be the right time?
Yeah, that's what I said, Brian. Like, when would have been the right time? Because everybody would have had something to say.
Right. And I say that because, I remember being a space enthusiast as a child. In fact, being an astronaut was something that I really wanted to do. And then I realized I was going to be really fucking tall, and there aren't tall astronauts. So it's just not really a thing. But even in the 90s, when, in the 2000s, when the economy was doing really well, people always talked about, that money could go to something else. And I get it. People simply aren't interested in it. And if they aren't interested in it, they see it as a waste.
There's a waste, yeah.
There's never going to be the right time.
That's true. That's right.
Yeah.
And more facts.
And I get it. If it doesn't resonate with somebody, it doesn't resonate with them. But, I didn't find this one as distasteful as everybody's talking about. The world can be falling apart, and we can do really cool things at the same time. Like, sometimes that's the cost of progress, is to be a little tone deaf. And not that I encourage that, but sometimes it happens.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you on that. So, I know last time we were together, we talked a lot about children, which is like, all these sad stories. But this story, I think is worth discussing.
Okay.
And looking at it from a different lens, not a really different lens, but just kind of looking at it and seeing what you would do.
Is behind bars tonight, accused of making a 13-year-old boy rub her feet at school. But that's not all.
Yeah, she's also accused of calling the boy sexy chocolate. Fox 35's Manny Martinez is live in Polk County with that story today. So, Manny, you talked to the sheriff, and let's say Grady Judd wasn't holding back on this one.
No, John, he says the details of this story are unbelievable. He says the boy's parents are extremely upset, and the sheriff says that the administrator admits that she was unprofessional, but says she denies saying anything that was inappropriate. Dr. Kava Lark is the assistant principal at Lake Marion Creek Middle School in Point Siena, but she will not be at work tomorrow. Deputies arrested Lark after they say she initiated lewd and lascivious conduct with a 13-year-old boy, a student. He was sent to her office for throwing a wadded-up piece of paper during a test. The sheriff's office says 2 witnesses and the boy say that while in her office, Lark told the victim to rub her feet since he didn't have anything better to do with his hands. Deputies say she removed her shoes and placed her legs across the victim's lap, and he did as he was told. The report says Lark was heard scolding the boy for not rubbing her feet correctly and demonstrated how she would prefer to be massaged by rubbing the child's arm and shoulder. Adding a coworker and witness heard Lark tell the student to rub her feet like he loved her. A witness also heard Lark tell the victim that she was doing this so he would know what foreplay is when he gets a girlfriend.
This was a sexual encounter. She claimed it was a discipline encounter.
The victim told deputies Lark has referred to him as sexy chocolate while passing him in the hallway at the school. The Polk County School Superintendent says this is abhorrent behavior for anyone who works among students, especially an administrator. This person no longer has any business being around children. Deputies say Lark claimed she was just trying to humble the student and that it was all a joke.
I mean, my goodness, how bizarre can you get? She is 53 years old, and she's asking a 13-year-old child, young enough to be her grandson, to massage her feet while she makes sexually suggestive comments. That's way over the line.
All right, guys, what say you?
People crazy. First of all, he's 13.
Yeah.
Second of all, you're in a high position. Maybe you're not a principal, but you're an assistant principal. What, like, and then you saying it where other people can hear you, like you don't have no shame. But you gotta think about it. If it was a man, I think we would have more outrage. If that was a man having a 13-year-old girl doing that, it would be more outrage.
Well, would we be more outraged?
I
guess no.
Yes.
I'm saying, I guess maybe we would, because then I remember last year the teacher that had the girls helping him take his braids out. And it was a big thing about that. So I guess if it was a man, maybe we would look at it a little differently. Yes. However, come on now, making this boy rub your feet. You know, and the most that's going to happen to them is what? She getting charged with something like that,
or is she going to lose her job?
Oh, well, I would hope definitely her job is gone.
Right.
Rubbing your feet?
I mean,
you ain't got no man at home to rub your feet.
Maybe she did. She said sexy chocolate, baby.
Come to a 13-year-old.
He's 13-year-old in age. You know, these 13-year-olds look a little growner.
Girl,
not me.
Where are you going with this?
Not me, Brian.
Where are you going with this?
It sounds like
not me, but I think that the outrage is not there. I think the parents are gonna hopefully she lose her job instead of being suspended, but she should lose her job.
I'm sure she's gonna lose her job.
I mean, because how many other kids she did it to? Because she felt comfortable doing it.
Yeah, very comfortable.
And somebody just overheard her, and the student ended up telling on her. But how many other kids did this happen to? Because how would you even come to a kid and say, rub my feet since you don't know what else to do with your hands? Like, that's a lot. And you calling him sexy chocolate, like, ma'am, you can't be talking to the kids like that.
You're right. No, you're right.
Oof.
Well, at the end there, when they were talking about her telling somebody that he needs to know how to do foreplay in the future, did they say that somebody overheard that?
Somebody overheard her.
So she's bold enough to not only do it, but to do it with the door open in front of other people. Like that, that's bold.
That's what I'm saying. She's done it before, because you don't just all of a sudden do that. You've done that before.
Yeah. She was real comfortable,
and she did not care. And nobody told her on the first 10 times she probably done it.
Not the 10 times. Right. Not the 10 times. So she didn't care. She was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do me."
Do me.
On a slightly different note, though. how refreshing is it that he was sent to the principal's office for throwing some paper? Like these days, when kids get in trouble, it's because they, punch their teacher or something
That's
like
right.
that. But it was like he threw some paper.
Yes.
I thought
That is
that
true.
was.
I
That's
didn't
true.
I didn't even look at that, Brian. That is true because
He ain't cuss
Yeah.
nobody out.
like they normally do.
Like they normally
or
do.
beating up the teacher.
It's almost
Yes.
wholesome.
Yeah.
From back in the day.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
That's true.
good point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Question for you guys. All right.
Yeah.
Picture this. Imagine this. You are on a lovely cruise, right? Lovely cruise with your family, you, your boo, your child or children. In this case, we'll just say one child. So it's you, your spouse, and the child, and y'all having a wonderful time on this lovely cruise, taking you to all of the nice exotic locations and things of that nature. Then something happens. The ship starts to sink. You have your spouse and you have your child.
Mm-hmm.
You can only save one.
My kid.
Who are you gonna save?
My kid. Fuck that spouse. Deuces. Save yourself. I'm saving my kid.
Why?
Because at the end of the day, my kid is gonna be there. If I get sick, get old, my spouse might leave anyway. No, save. If he can't save himself, we don't need to be together anyway. But I'm gonna save my child.
If he can't save himself, y'all need to be together anyway. You're leaving him in there, so y'all ain't gonna be together. So okay.
Bye, friend.
Okay.
Come on, baby.
So you're gonna save your child?
I'm gonna save my child.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Brian, what you say?
Here's the thing. I don't know that I can answer this question honestly.
Knowing how you feel about children, so take that out of it.
No, right. So, like, I'm not a huge fan of children, and I would normally just say, fuck them kids. But if it were mine, I'd have to.
And what's so
imagine
interesting?
that I
Before
would-
you go any further, it's so interesting. But I remember when Devin was a little kid, he would always flock to Brian. And
Absolutely. They all do. Yeah.
I'm like, wait, you don't even like kids. Why are you over there?
But Brian got a good spirit.
He got a good
And
spirit.
kids
take up on that. Yeah.
Kids sense it for sure.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I actually don't dislike children. But I certainly don't have a desire to have them. So like that makes it complicated.
I understand.
If all else is equal, like the chance that I could actually save them is equal and things of that nature, I would probably lean towards saving a child over an adult spouse.
Really?
You saving me.
Go ahead.
You saving your spouse.
Go ahead, Brian.
So the way I look at that is, if I use Marcus as an example, we're both 40 or at least about to be 40. We both led pretty fulfilling lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that child has its life to live. So theoretically, I would lean towards saving the child.
I'm gonna say my spouse.
Mm-hmm.
I get
say
it.
my spouse, huh?
I said I get it.
Good for you.
Yeah, well, because
Tell me why. Because you would let your child drown and save your spouse?
we can have other kids.
Oh.
Because I'm thinking of like future situation. Like in my mind, these kids today are bad as fuck.
It's your child, not nobody else's
They can
child.
still be bad as fuck.
So
here's my thing. Here's my thing.
Give you a
I
second
would
chance.
save this child. Then as they continue to grow, we get into we go into our little ebbs and flows and stuff like that. Things happen. The child is a horrible child. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just thinking, or maybe try to Menendez brothers me and shit like that. And I'm like, I didn't saved you, and you. I think like that. Yeah,
you do.
So I'm gonna save my spouse. Because even if me and my spouse end up not working out,
yes,
I can still
be with somebody else, have another child. Oh,
that child,
no.
I might save that child, and that child might bring me a lifetime of pain.
Here's one counterpoint to that. And I think the opinion of saving your child is probably the more common one out there. And I bring that up to ask the question.
Mhm.
What if you saved your spouse and they resented you for the rest of their life
For not
because you
saving that
let their
child.
child die?
That's right.
Like,
So you would still lose.
I wouldn't lose.
yeah,
You would
I
lose,
would lose
baby.
both of them and move on to something else. What did I just preface this
No,
by
you
saying?
did.
I said even if
You did.
at some point we didn't work out, I can still move on and have other kids. I guess in theory, I can move on and have another spouse too. But
Absolutely.
my fear is that this child is going to be a hellion, and
After the fact.
Because
then they'll be
because they're a
dealing
hellion
with-
now.
yeah.
And really, that's the piece I didn't. The child is bad as hell already. So you know.
So let him drown. Or let her drown. And let me get with my man.
But no, but I think that it sounds better to say I would say the child and a grown person can think for themselves and everything like that. But I don't know. I think I would say I would say my spouse.
Mm.
Yeah, I would say my spouse.
It would be my child.
Mm-hmm.
It will have to be my child for me. That's just because that's if my spouse can't even help me save my child, there's no purpose of him. That's what I think.
and don't get me wrong, it's not a clear cut one for me as it is for you two. Like if I could definitely save my spouse and maybe save my child, I'd save my spouse. Like that's there's a lot of factors that would come into play with it.
That child could bring me a lifetime of, and I'd have saved you, and I'm going to look at you in resentment for all the shit that you keep doing. Yeah, I'm gonna be pissed. But then I can look at you. I'm like, so I guess it's twofold. But
it's twofold.
But I would have to take care of that child. The spouse can leave.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, the spouse can leave, and I'm saving you, take care of you, and now you bring me all this pain.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Were you guys big fans of Whitney Houston and you didn't like Whitney Houston?
She was okay. She went on my playlist like that. Certain songs.
Mm-hmm.
You said
were you a big fan of Whitney?
Yeah, I really like Whitney. Yeah, I really like Whitney.
I love Whitney.
I know you do.
I love Whitney.
Yeah. She's not on my playlist.
Oh.
I listen to her music, but it's nothing that I'd be like, oh, let me download Whitney.
Okay. Well, I brought it up to say this. So they are in the process, or I think it's in past the concept phase of it, but they are speaking of doing a remake to
The Bodyguard.
The Bodyguard. What do y'all think of this?
But who would play her?
Who would you put? Who would you cast? Who would you
Who
cast?
would I cast
as
for
her, or cast as
the
Farmer?
bodyguard?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Before you say that, give it some thought. So Tyra Banks was recently talking about this, and she said that Taylor Swift should play Rachel, and Idris Elba could play
The Bodyguard.
The Bodyguard with Farmer.
I could see him being the bodyguard because of Daddy's Girls.
Okay.
And then what's the other movie that he played in that was in the snow? Not Alaska. I don't know the name of that movie, but he was like some kind of protector. I can see that. But to me, for Whitney's role, as I would think of Taraji or who's the lady who played basketball, Love and Basketball.
So now Lathan?
Yes. Because it would have to be a singer, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Because keep in mind the whole this is like Whitney's first real acting role. A, but then B, what really helped sell this movie was the soundtrack.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Her
and
singing.
she killed it on that soundtrack. So you would have to.
But Taraji sang.
You would have to have a singer, like somebody that's going to really going to sing, because think of it as twofold. I'm selling the movie and I'm also selling the soundtrack.
Yep.
Yeah, that's Taraji, because Taraji sang in another movie before. or Monica. She could probably do a good. You don't think so?
All right, Brian. She's nonsense right here now. Who would you put?
No,
I love Monica.
I really don't know. Monica, I don't think is actually a terrible choice. Except
She's-
from a singing perspective, sure. Acting perspective, sure. But from a star power perspective, I don't know that she's the right person for
Okay.
the role.
I can see the star power.
So okay, yeah.
Who would you say?
Plus, she's not gonna sell. She's not gonna sell.
Who you gonna say, Brandy?
Who you know? Who I would say?
Beyonce?
Yes.
Oh hell no!
What do you mean? Oh hell no!
She played in Cadillac and she was a mess.
What?
Cadillac Records?
What do you mean? She was playing a role. The lady was a mess. Nonetheless, I think Beyonce. I think Beyonce would be a great choice. I think that. Call me crazy. I think also that Ariana Grande could be a good choice. I'm thinking of singers. People. That girl can sing.
But can she act?
Yeah, she in
Yes.
Wicked.
She was just in Wicked. Yeah.
Yeah. That her either Beyonce, Ariana, and my last choice would probably be Lady Gaga. She's not the singer of a Whitney because keep in mind this is a remake. So we're not looking for somebody that's going to match the talent of Whitney. We're looking for somebody that A is going to sell the movie, B is going to sell the music. She's a different type of singer, but she can sell the movie, and she can sell. Go ahead,
Ariana, I don't disagree with that. Beyonce, I don't disagree with that. Gaga, don't get me wrong, I really like Lady Gaga, but I do think that she is past her prime at this point. She's not the right voice for something like this.
Damn.
No,
that was a nice way to put it. Past her prime. Shit.
Yeah, because then I started thinking about Cher.
She is.
Cher. Oh, what about Christina Aguilera?
No, who cares?
She passed her prime too.
You think Cher
passed her prime 20 years ago?
Christina Aguilera.
Yes.
I would say
last time she.
Go ahead.
When was the last time she released anything?
Well, she's been back on her doing her live shows, and she's. I will say though, that was probably the worst Vegas show I've ever experienced, and I was super, super, super excited to go see her. And I think out of 2 hours, she was on the stage maybe 27 minutes. Feels like, and she really it was like I was like, man, this is horrible because me and Lisa went. I was so excited, and then I said, man, this is a waste. Up there. This is a waste. But she came back. But I think so I was just thinking of singers, maybe Adele. She's still relevant.
But do she?
She would sell the soundtrack. The music will be different. She ain't gonna.
I was gonna say, as a remake with a completely different type of music, yeah, that could work.
Yeah,
but here's the thing. Let's be honest. Could you replace the star of The Bodyguard with a non-black artist? Exactly.
That's what you have to do.
I think you could. Yes, I think you could. You would flip it. So you have a non-black artist as Rachel, and you would have a black guy as the bodyguard. So I don't know if I would go with Idris. And probably not my choice. I would think maybe like a Michael B. Jordan. Maybe. Who else? He's not. Well, I don't know. A lot of women thought that Kevin Costner was really sexy, so that was part of the appeal. So I was even thinking maybe somebody like Sterling K. Brown, but I don't know if he has the sex appeal to carry it.
Yeah, very bipolar.
Because like when they would see their interaction in the movie, it was like women probably were putting themselves in the shoes of Whitney Houston, being like, "Oh my God, Kevin Costner." I don't know if anybody dreams about Sterling K. Brown like that. So maybe Idris Elba would be a good choice. Who else? That is, and you got to have crossover appeal as well. I don't know. I think Michael B. Jordan would be a choice. He's got the crossover appeal. Yep. Before he fucked up his career, Jonathan Majors would have been
That's what I was thinking of.
He would have been a contender.
Yeah.
He's still a contender because now he's married to Megan Good, he's been back on the circuit. People have forgiven him for whatever bull crap he was crying on the Sherry Shepherd show. So
or maybe maybe somebody like, I don't know.
Because Will Smith played a role like that, didn't he?
Yeah, but I don't.
But years ago,
I don't know if he would be a good choice. I would stick with Michael B. Jordan, huh?
I was just gonna say, from an age perspective, I think, like, especially if we're talking about something like Ariana, Michael B. Jordan would be good age-wise, matching there. Idris, don't get me wrong, I think would be an amazing choice, because yes, but age-wise, I don't know that is perfect. But now that I think about it, I don't know. Was there a significant age difference between Whitney and Kevin Costner?
Because I felt like at the time of at the time of The Bodyguard, I felt like Whitney was
young,
probably in her 30s, and he might have been in his 50s. But I don't know. She had to be young because she died. When she died, she was in her 40s. So she was in her 30s, and maybe he was in his late 40s.
So she was 29, and I'm looking up. He was 36 and she was 29. So that's 7 years. It's not bad.
Yeah, 7 years. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he did look.
And I don't know if he had the crossover appeal, but Omari Hardwick.
Oh, he would be a good choice.
Who?
He played Ghost.
Oh,
Hardwick. Okay.
Yes, what's the other name? Short. Columbus Short.
Oh no.
No?
I think his career's over too.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah, probably not him. I don't know. That would be my choice. Ariana, Michael B. Jordan. That would be my choice.
I'd be on board with that.
Yeah, I will watch that over and over.
I still think there's going to be a subset of people that are going to be really angry of switching the roles.
Yes, and I think a lot of people are also going to lose sight of it being a remake and not a remake is like a reinvention of it type thing, So,
but people don't hear that.
Yeah, so
because when you think about a remake, you see what happened to Color Purple. Everybody flocked out to see that, and it was not a good movie.
Well, that's because it was a musical,
but they didn't advertise it as that.
As
a remake,
reimagined. That's
yes,
what they said. And there wasn't anything I ever imagined.
I know. I was really upset about that movie.
Yeah. So, I think that people will lose sight of that because it's a different version of it, and they'll have all the comparisons to what it used to be or what it was. So it almost felt like they shouldn't have touched it, or do something completely different, or title it something completely different. That way people will be like, oh, this is just like The Bodyguard. You know what I'm saying? But it's not.
Yeah.
But when you say The Bodyguard remake, that's going to make people have expectations, unrealistic expectations. So sell it in a different way.
That's right. That's right.
All right. So let's switch gears a little bit. So I stumbled across probably maybe 2-3 months ago, maybe. I stumbled across this lady on TikTok, and she was just talking, kind of like a self-help type of person. And her name is Mel Robbins. And so I, listened to a couple of things. I was like, wow, okay, that makes, the type of thing. And so more recently, she did an interview on The Breakfast Club. And so I listened to that. And when I tell you, I really was so brought into this. So before we get into like the whole discussion of it, I will play this little video.
So I've been using this thing called the let them theory. I love this. I want you to try it. Here's how it works. The next time you feel left out, your friends all go out to brunch together and they don't invite you. Let them. Or maybe the person you're dating doesn't want a commitment. Let them. Or perhaps your spouse does not want to do the 5K with you. Let them. Your company is laying people off. Let them. You spend so much time and energy trying to control other people and getting emotionally worked up about things that are beyond your control. You can tap into peace and true control if you let them be themselves. And here's the other thing. If you let them, people will then reveal who they truly are. And when they reveal who they truly are to you, you now know what you can choose next that's right for you. So let them.
I will let whoever wants to start. What do y'all think of what she was saying?
I like it, but I think the key part to it, which I don't like that you put it at the end, because like it kind of that because it is the key part in my opinion, is the whole once people show you who they truly are, listen, pay attention, and like take that to heart. The let them concept is kind of how I handle my entire life. Like I don't people describe me as a pretty stoic person. I don't get worked up about a lot of things, and I kind of just roll with the punches. But I think the danger of that is that you can get steamrolled by some people can be steamrolled by allowing things and not taking further action on it. So if somebody shows you something negative, especially, you've got to be prepared to actually make the choices that then are better for you in the future.
That's a good one, Brian. So I think the let them, and it's a hard thing, and especially for me, so I think about it all the time. You listen to people's opinions and you try to be a pleaser. I think that's where my issues be for me. You let people have their opinions and you allow their opinions to sway your beliefs or your thoughts. And listening to her, Mario has sent this to me Monday, I think. Was it Monday?
Yeah.
Monday. So then it made me go look at some more of her speaking engagements. She had one with Oprah, and then like the one on the Breakfast Club. It was very intriguing on how she have lived her life, being in the world and like working at a job for a long time, and then one day she didn't have a job and trying to come up with how she's going to continue living. So listening to people's opinions and they tell you how you should live is a hard thing, because a lot of times, and me and Mario have these discussions all the time, in your own mind, you don't think you're enough or you're not good enough. And so people tell, oh no, you good, but you should do this. And you all in your mind, you're like, oh, I don't want to do that. But then you try that and do it because somebody said it. I have began to let them have their own opinion and say what they have to say, and just try to live my life for me. But I'm 57 now, so it's taken me a long time to get into that mind frame.
Okay. All right, so I think for me, it was a full, I don't want to call it a full circle moment, but it definitely, I identified with her story, and then I also identified with a lot of stuff she was saying. Mm-hmm. And so after hearing the first interview, you decide, look for other interviews and listen to other interviews and stuff like that. And so her story is, like maybe 15 years ago, she, her husband had a restaurant, and it tanked. Mm-hmm. She had lost her job. She was I think her past was like a public defender or something like that. She was a lawyer. So she had lost her job. They were like in crazy debt. She had some kids.
Yeah, younger kids. She had 3 kids.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so what our situationally is not the same, but like when she would talk about it being hard to get her day started each and every day, that was what really hit me. Because I understand that feeling of being stuck and feeling, you can't, what the old folks say, you can't see the forest for the trees. So you lose sight of everything that really is good going around, and because your focus is on X, Y, and Z that you may have acquired or been trying to reach, or this goal you've been trying to reach and hasn't been successful in doing it. So that's what you focus on. And so that's why her stories resonate with me, because she then, one day did the countdown like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then from there on, she was, getting up. But the Let Them really hit me because if you listen more to her, some of her talks, it's about the process of letting people be who they are. And that has been very difficult for me in my life. And even though now I say it, I'm trying to acquire that mantra of, let people be who they are, and you deal with them accordingly. But it's very hard to do. For me, it's hard to do only because that for a while, I've been so concerned about being like the villain in stories, the villain in somebody's story. So that would always overshadow situations and things like that. Because I've done enough to paint myself in a bad light, and then now you're going to paint me in a bad light. So I was more concerned about, what people would think of me, how I'm being viewed, what the story's going to be told. But in listening to her, it started me to think like, I'm so concerned about being the villain in these people's stories that I'm letting that overshadow the role that they play in my story. And me, in a lot of ways, losing, wasting time, wasting energy, wasting my peace on expecting change or expecting like people to show up for me, how I show up for them, and all that kind of stuff. And she went through this whole thing, and I would be really upset and angry, holding people to these standards that either A, we probably really never discussed, to say this is my expectation of you, but B, not even really paying attention to that they're not capable or they don't want to. Because like one of the things I've discovered in therapy, and I told my therapist this, is one of my main issues when I really look at, that old quote, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Yeah. That I'm oblivious to that. And for so long, you can come to me with all the bullshit and it is in a third, and all I'm going to see is what I want to see in you, not what you're showing me, but what I want to see in that person. I want to see you this and a third. I want to see this and a third. And this is not to say anybody's a bad person, but you some people have a better discernment to take note of things and act accordingly as a result of, immediately. That's never been my thing. I was like, I guess, I see this. I notice it, but I'm going to keep, I want to see what I want to see. And thereby causing a lot more hurt and pain for myself, because I'm having this expectation that it's never going to be realistic. And you've already shown me
multiple times
who you are.
That's right.
Do you know what I'm saying? So I really, 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 impacted by her story. I even bought her book, Let Them, because it's a guideline or a handbook on to how to get out of that type of thinking, get out of that mode of worrying, because then it goes past that, past the people aspect of it. And when I realized, and my therapist tells me this all the time, that people have played a major role in my entire life, and I placed a lot of emphasis on people, so much to the fact of people. Mario has taken a backseat to people in a lot of ways, and so it's wanting to change that, but also realizing that when you do change things, people expect you to be the same,
Absolutely.
So.
Well, and I
Talk
think
about
that
that.
actually raises a really good point that I was going to bring up about the concept of let them, and that is you also have to be careful not to jump to the wrong conclusion too fast, which I think is a very common thing that people do these days. Like using the example that she used of not being invited to brunch, like sometimes you're just not invited, or maybe you just didn't fit with the group that they were going
Yeah.
with that particular day. That doesn't mean, having that happen one time doesn't necessarily mean anything at all. It is recognizing patterns, identifying things over time that help guide you, like where do you fit into this group or where do you not fit into this group. And the kind of thought that came to my head was when we talk about you guys, our local friends, when plans get made, I am very rarely included in those plans. Not I'm included in them, but I'm not included in the planning of them. And what I've learned over time is that that's just the role that has developed between Marcus and I. That I jokingly describe him as the social director between the two of us, and like so people reach out to him to make plans, and I'm always welcome unless it just doesn't make sense for me to be there or whatever. Um, but I'll be honest that I felt a kind of way about that at a time, and so you have to be careful about jumping to the wrong conclusion when you let people do what they're going to do, that you're coming to the right conclusion, because sometimes it may not be exactly what it seems, and there's some discernment that's necessary there.
But I have a question then, Brian. Do you then insert yourself with that thought? Like, okay, my social director is making all these plans. I'm included, but did I have an opportunity to voice how I feel about it?
I will when I feel like it's necessary.
Okay.
Like Friendsgiving last year,
Mhm.
I had just started a new job, and I was going through some pretty deep shit in terms of
Mhm.
like depression. And I remember I was trying to juggle like when to come down there, and
Mhm.
he had bought the plane tickets, so it was him that had to do the rescheduling and stuff like that, and I wanted it for a specific day. He was trying to push it earlier, and he was doing that because he wanted me to be included, but I had to step in and say, actually, here's the boundary that I'm going to set. This is what I want to do. But in just much more simple situations, I also feel like I am free to do so. I am sparing when I do it. Another thing that I it's probably dangerous for me to admit this, but like planning trips, I intentionally don't involve myself in a lot of trip planning because Marcus will, what do you think about me to death? And the reality is I don't care. I'm going to show up, I'm going to enjoy myself,
Yeah, that's the same.
and taking one extra person out of the decision making process saves everybody
That's
more
huge.
stress. So like
Oh, absolutely.
just run with it.
Hmm.
So sometimes letting it happen doesn't have to be a bad thing, and I think that's a thing you'd be really careful taking away from her. What she's saying is, yeah, let them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't. I guess I don't.
I think it was twofold though.
Yeah, it's twofold for
Yeah.
me.
No, for sure.
Because like I want you to be who I want you to be. That makes sense. Or I want you to be me, if that makes sense. I think that's probably my bigger issue.
That's your issue.
In a lot of
because that's who you are.
In a lot of relationships.
It is. Look, let me tell you something. I have accepted this about you. Sometimes it rubs me the wrong way, but then I always go back to that is you. It is.
What is that, Sunshine?
We're not going to air our business on this.
Nonetheless.
But no, but we all have different personalities. If we all were the same, it would not even make it fun.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't. Yeah,
that's why I'm like, because if you have changed a lot, you have, because it makes it better for you. right?
Okay, where we going with this?
It's not in a negative way.
I'm listening.
It is one of the things that I think we all have evolved and changed because it's what makes us grow.
Mm-hmm.
Because without growth, we could be stuck. And I say this even about myself. From 18 to 50, I've always been in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say that to people.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day I said, you know what? I need to be single to figure out what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was that person to say, yes, 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 yes. Okay, it's okay. We can live here. We can go here. We're going to vacation. You know how many times I went to Gatlinburg? 10 times. Because my ex-husband loved going to Gatlinburg. I was like, can we go somewhere else? But I never said it. I was just like, okay. And then at 45, I got to move to different places. I was like, what took me so long to go to different places?
Mm-hmm.
So I was always, okay. And now I can be like, I don't really want to do that.
I feel it.
But before, I was like, okay. And now my voice is in a different space.
I got you. I think the let them for me is when I say I expect my expectation is indirectly or in what do you call it, subconsciously is is that you show up as me.
Yes.
I think it's because I just maybe in some cases my expectation is a little high, which goes back to the point of saying I disregard what I'm actually seeing and expect, and so then I'm looking at what I want to see, and so therefore there's where my expectations come, because and I will say that maybe not all the time is my discernment on point. For that reason.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I say let people be who they are and deal with them accordingly, it's just like, I'm not going to expect you to do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to go off of what you've shown me and let that be. And that's hard. That's been hard for me as I continue on this, is because, but on the flip side is when you do that, so then you may change how you show up, because let's like I'm not going to keep doing, I'm going to do what honors me is my mindset more so now than it has ever been before in my life. So now, but if you're on the receiving end of that, it feels different, because it's kind of like, well, what are you doing? What's going on? And is there an issue? Or what, in this relationship, is there an issue? Is this, and it's not that, I'm just acting accordingly.
Yes.
But I realize people don't like that.
They don't like you as the change Mario, or even to change me. I have friends. We're still friends, but we're not friends like we used to be. Mm-hmm. And at one point was, oh, you moved away. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I had to do something for myself. I still love you guys, but looking forward, I'm glad that I did it, because I could be somewhere still stuck in that same rotation of not finding myself because of somebody else.
And that's, I completely agree with that. I wholeheartedly agree with that. And so that's why this whole let them theory really resonates with me, is because I'm on the journey, and right now in my life, where I'm trying to really work at putting me ahead of others to
in the forefront,
to change the game, when it's always been the others in front of me. And so and really not being as concerned with what people have to say. Excuse me, because that's probably been the biggest Achilles heel for me, is it been. Ooh, excuse me, damn.
Is it the champagne or no? Oh, you drinking water?
Water, thanks.
Okay, copy.
Golly. But no, it's that I would say I am a self-proclaimed, or was a self-proclaimed people pleaser, and that started probably based off of my relationship with my mom, and that's just transcended in time. Always, I felt like growing up, I always wanted her approval, so that led me to live a life of wanting the approval of everybody else. My friends, people I dated,
coworkers,
all that kind of stuff. And then realizing that when people are doing what they want to do,
and get
up,
what they want
and showing up how they want to show up. They are not regarding my feelings.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And,
right.
and that again, it doesn't make them a bad person. It just makes them listen.
They don't have to. Yeah.
Say it again.
Listen, they don't have to.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
On the bad way. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And so then they're honoring themselves and they're staying, you know, doing being true to themselves. And so but I was had so much anger and discomfort in my mind. Because why would people do that? Why would they do that to me? You know, but not. So then I just said, okay, well, let them be who they are, and I'm gonna deal with you accordingly. But people get mad about that. They don't,
because that's the part of not used to that person showing up, right?
So
even if you always had it in your spirit, that's the part they never seen. And then when you really show them, hey, let me show up how you show up.
Yeah.
And people don't like. You give them the same energy they gave you, but because you gave them a different energy of let them, and then you say, wait a minute, this is not working for me. Let me let you see how you've been treating me.
Yeah, but it's not, I guess, I understand where you're going with this, but I don't think it's necessarily intentional to say.
You don't think people do intentional things?
No, I think they do intentional things, but what I'm saying is, I don't think it's intent. My reversal of this is not intentional to say, oh, you did this, so now I need to show you. That was my thought process for a while. It's like, listen, no, I got to show them. But now my mindset is like, no, this space is not comfortable for me. This space is not safe for me.
Right.
So me being in tune enough with my own being to say this ain't serving me like I intended it. It's not bringing me peace. It's actually taking away from my peace. So now I need to modify how I show up in the situation. And that's all I'm saying. But that's been very difficult because I say that because the expectation is that you always are going to be who you want to be. And it's funny, you know, some of the, you know, like I said back before, like being the villain in a lot of stories. It's funny that I'm the villain in a lot of these stories, but then people want to be around me. So I'm like, well, how am I such, you know what I'm saying? One minute I'm this asshole, you know what I'm saying? And you taking these stories and running with them. But then on the other hand, I'm like, okay, but letting go of that, letting go of that thought process of being like concerned about how you view me. And it's not easy and it's still a work in progress, I will say. But it's just really getting to that space of, listen, I need to worry about me and my peace. And because as I'm getting older, I've never understood until probably this last year and a half how much peace means. It's a very, very powerful and very, very important. And I see why so many people are, you know, on that bandwagon of protecting their peace and everything like that, because when your peace is interrupted, it can mess up
everything around you.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to even think about it. Being at peace. And that's why I said that being at peace is a hard thing to find, first of all. And then when you find it, like you said, it took you just in the last year and a half or two to really understand what peace meant to you. Because that's what
I'm still learning.
Absolutely. Sure. I don't think you ever learn.
Yeah, it's a continuous thing.
Absolutely. I told my mama that I said, you know what, I need to take a page out of your book, because she do and say what she wants, and then she has no regard. So sometimes I feel like
good? I mean, but is that good?
But guess what? She sleeps very well at night.
But here's also the thing, though. Now that when you're saying something like that, she sleeps very well at night. I think that's always our assumption too, though, is that these things that others do, they're unbothered by their actions, but I would venture to guess they may not show that all the time.
Or maybe we can't see that, right?
Yeah.
Because I say, even as growing up, I never saw my mom cry. And so I'm like, are you hurt? Like, does crying show that you're hurt? Is it emotional thing or emotionless? I talk about when Pierre got burnt on his hand. We went to the hospital. He was in there crying. I'm crying. because he's in pain. My mother wasn't crying. She's just walking around like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, you don't hear him back there screaming? So his pain was in my heart and soul, and I'm crying, but I've never saw her emotional. She was very like, he's gonna be fine. You don't need to be crying. Why are you rocking back and forth? I'm like, because now I can't hold him and stuff like that. So I guess I'm maybe not emotionalist. I'm gonna say very level-headed. Maybe that's the word for it.
She was.
She's very level-headed.
Because I venture to guess that probably in her alone time, maybe some of the things, but people process things differently. Yes. You know what I'm saying? So maybe, and some people are a lot more guarded. And that's probably one thing I would probably wish I would have been in my life, is just more guarded. And
but you think that would have worked for you though? Now, because it shapes you too.
Yeah, but I also look at how others move through life, and I'm like, yeah, that seems like. But then again, like I said,
but you don't know their long time.
Their long time, yes. What they may, how they may feel. But the outward aspect of it looks like them.
They enjoying their life.
Yeah.
But like you said, that a long time, because this goes back to people committing suicide and stuff like that, because they could be the life of the party, but then they get home behind closed doors.
And that's true too.
They can be fighting these demons that we can't see. So
yeah.
That's one of them.
But I love the story. I can't wait to get into the book to really kind of unpack more of this. Because it really resonated with me, just for that mere line of, let them, so let them, don't try to change anyone. I think I told a friend this, and they took it a little offensively. And all I simply said was, listen, how you've shown up in the world thus far at this age has been fine. Here comes Mario. Mario come along here, and he's the only one had some issue with how you're showing up as it relates to him. Don't change for him.
Oh yeah,
I said, listen, don't change for me. I'll change
for you.
No, I'll change based off the situation.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying. I'm not changing for you. I'm saying change it based off the situation. Don't change. I'll adjust my behavior. Don't you keep doing because it's serving you well in your life.
Oh yeah,
do that. But I'm gonna change how I show up. Something like that, honey.
But that's because of the change of people. Like, you have been who you've been for 5 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden you say, you know what? I can't do that no more, because in a long time, you had to start thinking of what serves you a good purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you sat down and you was like, this is not serving me well. Let me express what is serving me good and what's not. And they didn't like the delivery, maybe.
No. It's not the delivery, because one thing that I have, no. I think I had a situation maybe a few years back. And after that, I made a conscious decision to say, listen, I am going to make sure that my delivery is different. I don't want the delivery of delivering a message when I am angry and I'm blowing up and all that kind of stuff, because at the end of the day, all that gets remembered is how I acted, not what I said. I've been really doing a lot of work on that and making sure, to the point that I write letters. Mm-hmm. Even if I'm going to have to prepare for a conversation, I write out for myself all my thoughts, like almost like I'm about to give a speech, so that I can make sure that I deliver the message that I'm going to, and I convey my message properly. It's not always received, which angered me at first, because I'm like, damn, I've done something different. I'm trying to do the right thing, so to speak, and then it's not received well. And so, but when I walk away from it, I feel better, because now, when the story is told, you're not going to just focus on that motherfucker was going off. You know what I'm saying? When he went out, he was flying off the handle. I don't know what the fuck wrong with him. Now, when you tell a story, you're going to have to add some flavor to it, some spice to it, some creative license, because that's not how I came. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to have to really be like, oh, and there are some situations where people are shifting the story.
Because they're used to the pop-off side. And so
one thing I will say is that oftentimes, especially people that have known you for some time, when you start delivering communications to them in a different manner, sometimes they don't necessarily take you seriously. Like they're anticipating you being an angry person when you're mad,
Popping off.
versus here's clear cut, you know, chill facts. Sometimes they don't know how to handle that because
That's
they're
true.
used to you behaving one way, and when you behave differently, that throws them.
Absolutely.
I agree. Because they want to be able to hang their hat on that story. In my mind, you want to be able to hang your hat on that story to say this dude is fucking loco.
And people are not used to change in relationships and friendships and parenting and all of things. Is one of them things that people are not used to, or not a lot of times not ready for, because they haven't taken the time to unpack why they rather for you to pop off than deliver a message as, hey, I just want to have a conversation. So, people have to deal with their own mental things that they have going on. Also, if you used to pop off, oh, here come Mario, he gonna pop off. It might still get the message, but then you come back with the, hey, can I talk to you real quick?
Who gonna do that? Me?
You come with the nice side. It's not necessarily nice. But not the pop off king as you have been quoted to be.
The pop off king.
Pop off king.
I gladly let that be. I let that go. And
yes,
I'm moving in a different direction.
You are.
But
people are not ready. A lot of times, people are not ready for that.
Well, I think they're not ready for it because you can. In the past, you can hang your hat on that.
Oh yeah,
and that would be like I was the fuck up in the situation. So you were like, okay, cool. Now, if I'm not the fuck up, then now it's gonna take you cause you to have to take a look at yourself and be like, well, damn, what role did I? You know what I'm saying? And that's the hard part for a lot of people.
And how to receive the message that you're portraying or giving.
Yeah, because people don't. Yeah, and let me backtrack. My therapist always gets on me about this when I say people, and he says you cannot make a blanket statement like that because all people don't show up like that. And I said you're absolutely correct.
That's true.
So I changed it to see the people I've encountered have, and so because that is true. Not everybody shows up like that. And so some of the experiences I've encountered and experienced, this is how they've shown up.
Okay, that's fair.
So, but I have to change my wording to say the people that I've encountered, some of the people that I've encountered.
Yeah, because everybody is not the same.
Yeah. So, we can cut it on the let them theory, but I am going to circle back on that probably in future episodes and probably just do other derivatives of it because it is very, as we all continue to grow, because that was like one of the things that I've always admired about you, Brian, is that I don't want to say don't give a fuck attitude because I don't want to make it sound like you walk around like, but it's that if something does bother you, you would never know it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If something bothers me, my whole everything is fucked up and it reads all on me like a book. So I've always like learning how to be more cool, calm. Everything doesn't require a response. Everything doesn't require that response, and just keep them going. So yeah, I don't know you not so much because you are a fly off the handle too. So
I do.
So,
but I've been the other side also.
What's the other side?
The other side of okay, not talking, not saying nothing. So, I've grown. I have. You just didn't know me then. So you respond better to the new Kim.
Because you're always talking in my mind.
I do.
Jesus.
Because I don't fucking play with you.
Ain't that it? Anyway, but yeah, we'll circle back on this. And I think I got a couple of like
follow-ups,
and just some other subtopics to this whole thing. As it relates to let them, as it relates to friends, as it relates to family, because that's a big part. Oh, definitely for you. Let them is a big.
You hear that, Brian?
It is. It is, you know, I'm not gonna force you to share too much, but
thank you.
But yeah, let them in the family. Let them in my family life is a big thing.
I know.
It's a huge thing.
But we've been praying.
So yeah, we'll circle back on this. But
yes. Brian,
I'd love
thank
to hear
you
some of your thoughts
so
on
much.
the book.
Say it again.
So I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on the book when you've gotten into it.
Yeah, I'm gonna crack it open. Matt, when I see you, I will see you this weekend. Wanna?
This weekend?
Coming up? Chicago?
What's happening this weekend? Oh, yeah. Sorry. See, I'm not involved in anything. I requested the day off at work. That's as far as I've gotten into it.
Okay, well, I'll see you then. So by then I have
Absolutely.
read a couple of chapters and stuff like that, so then we can talk about that. But yeah, it's very I'm very excited about getting into it and seeing what's what. So
perfect.
All right, guys, thank you for joining me again today.
I was gonna tell you, thank you, Brian, for showing up on a Saturday.
Absolutely.
Just I know you was just as busy as
Brian.
me.
No, Brian said you just want somebody to be on your side.
As me.
Brian said, what did he say? He said, listen, when you said next week, Brian said what? Even if we can possibly do before, he was flexible. And then he gave out, you know what I'm saying? You don't hear him complaining, you don't hear him doing that. This one. Let them, Brian. Let them.
Brian, am I here?
Let them.
Forcible.
Let them.
But I can't let him because he is not gonna let me live it down.
Ain't that it? Anyway, please remember to like, share, subscribe.
Right.
And thank you guys.
Hey Pumpkin. It is Hey Pumpkin.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Let him, Brian. Let him, honey. Ooh, let me
Ain't that it?
get back to this kitchen.